Am I the asshole for finally telling my sister I asked to move in with my dad to get away from her? My sister Hannah, 26F, is 2 years older than me, 24F. Growing up with her was fine until she turned 10, and then her personality just switched. Everything was an argument. I have no idea if it was really triggered by her dad leaving the country, back to Honduras, or mental health issues. I never asked, because she never wanted to talk about it. While Hannah and I share a mom, we do not share fathers. Mom wasn't with either of our dads, romantically, for long. And I don't judge her for that, it is just how things were. My dad stuck around, wanted everything to do with me. Hannah's dad was around until he left, got married, and rarely called. I went through a lot of instability and told my dad how miserable I was. Mom couldn't focus on both of us. Sometimes my dad would pick me up and take me for a week. I would come back to my things ripped up, Hannah clinging to me, or her shouting at me that she hated me, wanted me to go away. My mom didn't know how to make it stop, and I seemed to be the target of Hannah's jealousy and emotional fits. So, when my dad met stepmom Judy and they talked about moving to her hometown, Portland, I begged to come with them. At this point I was living with them almost full time. Most of my things were at their house because Hannah liked to just destroy my shit for fun. Dad took me to school and I would see my mom on the weekends, but even that might be cut short. My mom agreed after I said it was for the best. I was already miserable, and she should focus all her time on Hannah. And it worked out. I had a family where I wasn't suddenly attacked for simply existing. And Hannah had all the attention she needed to have therapy and work on her problems. But I guess my mom told her that custody was awarded to my dad because he made more. Hannah was visiting me in Portland 2 years ago, and asked if I ever resented the courts for not letting us grow up together. I asked where she heard that. I then said, I love you Hannah, but I moved in with my dad because you treated me like shit. It recently came up that Hannah is back in therapy because she keeps remembering the comment I made and feels terrible about it. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Look, your sister went through obvious mental problems and took them out on you. She was a confused and scared 10-year-old. I do not think she is a horrible person for that, and I love and commend the fact that you two have reconnected now that you are both adults. You are a star for seeing things how they are and not holding them against her. But that said, you are adults now. You are allowed to speak the truth and you did it in a respectful manner. Her behavior impacted your life. Not the asshole for being honest with her as an adult, and she probably needed the therapy anyways. Not the asshole. Maybe your mom needed spin a convenient lie at the time to soothe an already troubled child. Maybe hating the evil court system gave her a harmless place to focus her rage while they worked on her issues. But Hannah's no longer a child. She treated you badly, and you don't have to pretend that didn't happen. Not the asshole. You were terrorized for 4 years before you were able to move to safety. It's weird that your mom still maintained the fiction. Does Hannah not remember destroying your things? Did she ever apologize? You aren't an asshole for telling her the truth about why you left. If she didn't realize how her behavior affected you, she hasn't developed empathy yet and could do with more time in therapy. Not the asshole. Did I miss the part where your sister apologized? You had every right to say what you did. Apparently all the years you lived with the scars she left, she didn't even realize what she did until recently. She has a lot of self-reflecting to catch up on. Nah. You told the truth. Hannah treated you so poorly that you begged to move away from everything and everyone you'd known just to get away from her, and your life was visibly better because of it. How could Hannah possibly work on her issues if she didn't have the truth? Not the asshole. Best to have honesty in your close relationships. Hannah's therapy isn't complete until she deals with the reality of how she treated you when you were kids. Not the asshole. Sometimes the truth hurts. No assholes here. She's not in therapy because of what you said. She's in therapy because she needs to come to terms with how her behavior hurt someone else. You said it in the nicest way you could. Mom is a little bit that asshole for lying. But it's probably hard to tell your child their sister left because of them. Not the asshole. You were telling her the reason why you left your mom and her. It might suck to hear that, but that's what therapy is for. You don't need to hide or sugarcoat your feelings or experiences to her, especially since you weren't getting help from your mom. I wouldn't hold it against her because she was a child that was going through a lot and didn't know how to properly handle it. She's getting help and hopefully you found a way to forgive her and maybe help her out in some fashion, but not mandatory. I am a teacher and it sounds like your sister had an attachment disorder. Every time you left she would punish you for leaving and become clingy. Your mother should have got her therapy as soon as she started having issues and should have protected you. At the same time though, a 10-year-old who has mental trauma, probably from her dad not being there, can't help themselves through that, so nah. Except maybe your mother who should have sought professional help sooner. Nah. Your sister was a child and didn't know how to cope with her dad leaving, or with her jealousy and resentment towards you for having a father who loved you and was involved. You possibly could have used more tact in your response that triggered her, but you're not an asshole for being honest. No, you just expressed your feelings like an emotionally healthy person. Info. What age did you move out? Not the asshole, you did what you had to do given the situation, but I question if the issue is you had a dad in your life when she didn't. Not the asshole. It seems that both are on a healing path. Her changing ways and being remorseful and being able to being with sister and forgiving. But for that healing to continue it is necessary to be based on the truth. You didn't make Hannah go back to therapy. Hannah just had more growing up to do. Your honesty can only help with that. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Isn't one of the goals of therapy to face reality and come to terms with it? No assholes here, you haven't done anything wrong. Hannah I won't blame because she was just a kid struggling to deal with life. Mum is a bit of an asshole for not helping Hannah, protecting you enough. But being a mum and dealing with kids' issues is super hard too. Not the asshole. She keeps remembering the comment I made and feels terrible about it. She should feel terrible after what she did to you. Her mental health issues might explain her behavior, but it doesn't excuse it. Not the asshole. I know this feels like a bad outcome, but it's a really good outcome. Going back to therapy shows that she at least one health habit for dealing with difficult emotions now. I know there tends to be a stigma about therapy being a sign of things going really badly, but it's actually a good sign of someone being proactive about their mental health. Maybe she needs to have heard that in order to grow more, and the fact that she's seeing a professional makes it more likely this will be a point of growth rather than a setback. Not the asshole. My favorite little quote is, "The axe forgets but the tree remembers." You made the decision to move away from the axe as a 22-year-old. You remember the times you got chopped at. Now you're grown, have some scars, have healed over some. Your comment was a tree moment for your sister. She remembers, she's scarred, and will need time to grow and heal. That's all. I feel a bit conflicted, only because you were both so young at the time. I would be lying if I said that I wasn't a big jerk to my siblings at times when I was a kid, and vice versa. I think it was unfair to the both of you that your mom wasn't honest about why you left. I have to imagine that it was incredibly hurtful for your sister to find out that you left because of her years later. The best both of you can do is learn to forgive and grow. It's not your fault and I don't think she's to blame either. You both were small children and hurting greatly. Best of luck to both of you. Nah. I feel so uncomfortable about all of the judgments calling the sister an asshole based on her actions as a child. A child being abandoned by a parent at such a young age is a huge deal, and it sounds like she was dealing with a lot of distress and difficulty regulating her emotions, and lashed out at her sister who still had a father. This behavior continuing without change for 4 years reflects on the mother, who seems to have failed to meet the emotion needs and safety of either child, and the father who abandoned his daughter. I am so glad to hear that both you and your sister are in therapy and I hope you both find healing. Not the asshole. She ran you off and your mother chose her over you. You can feel bad for you but don't lie about what happened to you. And frankly, she needs the therapy if the utterance of truth is enough to make her go back to therapy. Not the asshole, but your mom was wrong to lie to her. And although she was overwhelmed taking care of both of you, she still should have done more to protect you or discipline your sister when Hannah went off on one of her rampages. Not the asshole. It's not you, it's her. You're mature enough to know when you're being treated badly and just had to move out to avoid getting hurt. Additionally, it's not your fault if Hannah can't handle the truth. If she can't handle what you said, then she'll likely have difficulty in the real world. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, but this feels like your mother's issue to manage. I can't fault her for coming up with a palatable reason to explain your absence to a child with clear mental health issues, but she's wrong to penalize you for being honest. I hope it works out for you all. Nah. It was totally fine for you to tell her the truth, and it is totally fine for her to struggle with that truth. Unless she returns to her old ways of taking things out on you, nobody is in the wrong here. I think she just needs time to let the truth of the matter sink in. Her getting therapy is a really good sign that she's willing to reflect on this and deal with it in a mature manner. If that comment put your sister back in therapy, then she has much more serious issues than she's told you. You can't be expected to know things you haven't been told. No assholes here, except maybe your mom who took the easy way out. Not the asshole. Your sister is in therapy for a whole host of reasons, even if she is dwelling on that comment. Not the asshole. The fact that your sister went back to therapy is actually a good thing. Both for her and you. Your comment probably hurt and may have triggered some self-reflection that also hurt to realize, but in the end, she's dealing with it like an adult. And so are you, emo. Not the asshole. Obviously she is not remembering your younger lives as it truly was. Therapy is worthless if it based on untruths. They might not be deliberate untruths but still untruths. Maybe now therapy can get to the full root of the problem. She's in therapy because she's, hopefully, rethinking all of the horrible things she did to you when you were children, not because your comment hurt her so badly. You did nothing wrong, and I would take really big issue with your parents not sticking up for you until you got to the point you had to move out. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I'm very impressed by your responses, Op. You are one of the most emotionally mature, good-hearted, and empathetic people this sub has seen in a long time. We need more people like you. Not the asshole. If she feels terrible about what you said, then that comes under the umbrella of truth hurts. If she is in therapy, hopefully it will help her to get to the root of why she treated you so badly. If your comment is the driving factor to her receiving therapy, then it might be the best thing you could have done for her. NTA. I'm spiteful you handled it better than I would have. Of course you're not Ta. If she, a grown woman, can't handle hearing the truth, how the hell does she think it was for you as a child dealing with it? I'm glad she's in therapy. She's got more issues than Vogue. Nah. Your sister was a child, and a traumatized one. All the adults did what was right for the children at the time. No assholes here. Hannah was clearly a very troubled child, and I wouldn't feel right calling her an asshole for that, but you are also extremely valid for your feelings. Sometimes the truth hurts, and it isn't fair for you to suppress the suffering you had to go through to make her more comfortable. It's great that she's back in therapy. I hope she's getting the help she needs and you two will be able to have a healthy relationship as adults. Nah. I can't blame a 10-year-old girl for not being able to handle her emotions about her father and Nor. And I blame you for telling her the truth. Not the asshole. It's her shit she's gotta work out that she's projecting onto you. I hope she has a decent therapist. Not the asshole. I'm sure that was a stressful environment for you. If you think your sister is earnestly in therapy, you might want to participate a little. It could be somewhat of a benefit for both of you. Not the asshole. Your sister needs to be accountable for her actions and own up to her behavior. She can't do that until she knows how her behavior affected you. She deserved to know the truth. No, you're not the asshole. It's cute to see how everyone is finding explanations to why your sister behaved the way she did, but at some point your mother made her believe that it was okay. And being that no one was there to advocate and protect you from her meltdowns, you did what was best for you. You are not the Whatever your sister is going through is not on you. The family dynamic was a bit dysfunctional. Not your fault. Your father stayed and cared for you. Not your fault. Who wants to deal with their older sister tearing up their things? I would have beat her up, but thankfully you had an outlet. I'm one of 3 girls. We have the same parents. I've always wanted to be away from them because of the negativity and abuse. I want to say nah. Your sister did act like an ass in the past, but it seems like she really regrets that. It sounds like she's back in therapy to work through those regrets. Not the asshole. Hannah's back in therapy because she needs to be in therapy. Sounds like your mom lied to her a lot and she ended up being gaslit by it. None of this is your fault, Op. Not the asshole you cannot hide the truth forever and your mom told her that to probably shift the blame at such a young age. Now she is older, she can handle it. She may not like it, but it is out there. The key thing for her to remember is that you are now closer and things that happened when you affect us in different ways. Not the asshole. She should feel bad about mistreating you. I hope that therapy gets her to a better place, where she can accept her part in how both of your lives changed because of her behavior. She needs to use that emotional discomfort to grow into a better person. I'm glad to hear that she is back in therapy. That sounds like a solid plan to deal with difficult feelings. It sounds like she may also be getting a new look at the things that your mom told her to smooth things over when you left with your dad, and is starting to see the easy lies that your mom told her. Again, therapy is a great place for her to address these feelings and memories.